Ahoy mateys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you Ahoy, the pirate game from Leather Games. This is a 2 to 4 players. The recommended age is 14, could go to 75 minutes, and it says a game of seafaring and smuggling. So the box looks like a root kind of size box, and an initial warning here is that this game is known as being the root, but with pirates. And I'll explain you why that is during this video. But another thing that is important to know is, although the game says 2 to 4 players, there's a bit of controversy here because most people that I've talked about this game and played, everyone says that this is a 2-player game that could be played by 4. Okay, I'm still trying to find my place there within that discussion, because basically what the game has is there is two factions that play differently, a little bit different. Like in Root, this is a asymmetrical game. So you have the Bluefin Squadron, which they say it's a company of sharks and their tooth friends who keep order, shot and sword. And then in the opposite side, the Mollusk Union, an alliance of undersea creatures and their loyal comrades who fight to reclaim their home. So these factions are made to face each other. They have powers that go against specifically the others. But if you play with 3 or 4, there are also the smugglers, which are maverick captains who run blockades to deliver cargo to those with the most need or coin. So the feeling is probably that if you play with one of the smugglers, you don't feel like the game is made for you. You feel like an NPC, and I've heard that. While these will look like the ones that really are impacting. But anyway, the game is now releasing 2 more expansions, which include other factions. It will include more ways to play, more cards, etc. So maybe the game will change to a more broader experience for everyone. I hope so. By the time I'm recording this video, these expansions have not been released, but I've seen those and I really want to try. Because that's what you see in the game. You will be exploring the seas by deploying tiles and battling and fulfilling your objectives. So let's see what is inside. Ahoy. Yeah. So I have the cover in one direction and the back of the game is in a different direction. The art is very recognizable as being the same type of artist from Roots and Arcs, which is an art that I love. You see there's a shark there. I saw one of the mollusk guy there. So apparently the captains are fighting each other. The battling, the ships are battling, and there are different types here of pirates, etc. This one looks like it comes from SquarePants Bob. There's the manual of the game where you can see the factions and the smugglers. I don't think the smugglers have. Oh wait, so the smugglers they have. Now I cannot turn because I've opened the box, but I think the smugglers they also have a face. Ah, indeed. So yeah, you see one of the smugglers is this squid guy that is also here in the box. Okay, and the other is that blue humanoid figure which is there. So could we assume that one of the next ones will be the crab people? I don't remember who they were. Okay, so the manual is very small in size. Yeah, that's just giving you a look of it. The game is not difficult. I'll try to explain you a little bit how it goes. Just giving you an overview of the manual here. So this game is a dice placement game above all, where you'll be rolling dice, and with the result of those dice, you will do your actions. Okay. So if there's also some quick guides here for every player that explains the actions and how the game works. They call it a pocket guide. Okay, you see also the actions, the tiles, the specific tiles, and then that's what you have inside. And in terms of boards, and I want to remove them from our view. So this is the main board, which you count the fame. The fame are the victory points, and when a player triggers 30 points, the end of the game triggers. but that's not necessarily the player that wins, but because there will be some end game bonus points that you need to be you account for. So the winner may be another person. On the other side, you have the table set up for 2 players, which is also described in the manual. So not sure why this is it here. And then with 3 players, you add this. With everyone, you add that. And they didn't have anything else to put here. So then the factions. This is how it looks. So 4 boards. On the other side of each board, you have a little bit about the faction and to set up specifically the faction, because there is also different setup. And to give you an overview of the boards. Okay. In order for me to explain the actions for each faction, I think it's better if I explain some of the basic things. So the game starts with 2 randomly drawn tiles like this, and the players will be deploying their ships. So I just have here one as an example. So each section will be represented by these 4 places. And there are islands, there are some specific tiles, specific zones that will do different things like those there. And one of the actions that you can do is to sail if you use a certain die. So if, for example, if I'm here on the island and I decide to sail there, I may have more than one movement, but if I decide to sail, then the game stops and I need to randomly pick another map tile, and I need to decide how to place it. So I could place it like this or like this, but the only thing that I cannot do is I cannot connect an island adjacent to another island. Okay, so this would be an invalid movement. But let's imagine that I do this, right? Then I would move here. This specifically is a special tile. It's a current that will, if I stop, it will pull me here. If I pass through, it will pull me, so I would stop here indeed. Okay, then because it's a new tile, what I need to do is I need to put another blue die here in the middle. So these blue dies, they are representing the value of that region. Okay, because in the end of the round, when you score the black player and the yellow player, they will score control of these regions, and they will, if they control the regions, they will earn the amount of points that you see on these dice. So the smugglers, they have the chance to increase this by delivering cargo here on these islands, and if they do, they raise this to 2, 3, etc. So if you control regions which have high value, you will score more points and you will arrive faster to the 30 points. Okay, so that's the basic thing. And then you have all these remaining tiles that have things like, let me show you. So there's a sandbank here. You cannot go through here. You need to go around or this way. If you stop in areas where you have coins, you'll get that as a resource that you can use to buy things. The fog means that there's no battle happening here. I'll explain battles later. Then there are wreckage, that if you pass through or stop here, you take 1 damage on your ship, but then this one specifically gives you 2 money. Every square of this will have at least one that has a number in the die, like a die there, dice face. This one is a 6. So there's an action that you also can do, which is tailwind, which basically means there's a teleport that you can teleport anywhere in the map if you use a die that corresponds to that. So if you use a 6, you could go there in a teleporting way. There's also an arbor, which means that if you go here, you can repair 2 damage from your ship, or you can reload your cannons in a certain way. Nothing new here. Oh, you can see that also the islands, they have different symbols because every island will have a different suit. This is important for delivering cargo and for the cards that I will show you later. So you need to match certain symbols with the cards. That's why you have two of each. Okay, we've seen this one. It's the current already, and that's it. Those are at least the actions that the special tiles that you have in the base game, and there's everything explained here on this document. So now I would like to start explaining the factions, and let's start with the Bluefin Squadron, you know, the sharks, etc. So because the game is asymmetric, the boards are different, except the smugglers. The smugglers have the same board, but everything that comes in the game that is blue or very dark blue is belonging to this faction, the blue sharks. Okay, so differences. The Bluefin Squadron is the only faction that has 5 action dice. All the others will only have 4. So that's an advantage there. So in the beginning of the round, you just roll your die, you keep the results, okay, and then throughout the game, throughout the turn, you will be able, throughout the round, every player in turn order will assign 2 of their dice to any of the actions they have on their board. Okay, so I can put a die here, there. And then I assign 2 and I pass to the next player. He assigns 2, everyone assigns 2, and then it goes back to me. I assign 2 more in the holes, and then everyone assigns the remaining dice. But the Bluefin Squadron always has a 5th die, so he is always the last to play in every round, which is important. You can see what everyone has done, and then your last play will be the killer move that you need to do without anyone else interrupting you. Okay. So in this example, let's see what we can do here. We have, let me try to put everything on screen because I will represent the actions try to represent them in a realistic way. So starting here, I have the main ship for the Bluefin that maybe could go there. And the Bluefin also has these things that are called the patrols. So it's like a shark fin, you see the shark fin, but it's a different ship. It has like 1 life. And every time you stop in a place, you can put a patrol there. So the patrols will count as 1 more for counting the dominance of the region. Okay, just showing you here because everything is written here. Okay, so for example, you have 4 sail actions available, which you could put dice here. It doesn't matter the spots of the die because you always move 1 or 2 spaces. Okay, and when you stop, you place a patrol on those places. Then there's the tailwind action. You move your flagship directly to a space with this die in the corner, and you can then put also a patrol there. So remember the tailwind there, for example, here. Let's see. Oh, this tile doesn't have any tailwind, but for example, this here, I'll just rotate for you to see better. It says 4, so I could use 4 here on the tailwind, and I could teleport myself immediately there. And when landing there, I could put another patrol there, but I would need to take 1 damage because I'm on wreckage. I take the coin, but I take the damage. So in terms of coins and damages, coins are the coins, yep, and the damage are these things. What the damage does is, when you take damage, you need to decide where you want to put the damage. So for example, if I decide to put it here, that means that I cannot use that spot anymore until I repair the ship. Okay, so because I'm self-inflicting damage, I'm now the one on the wreckage. I'm now the one deciding where to put that damage. But if I was on a battle and another player damaged me, they choose where to put. So they could put here, for example, and limit the possibility for me to use the order action, which we'll see later. Okay, so the only way for you to get rid of this is by repairing, which is the action here. Remove 2 damage from your die slot, so you can remove up to 2 of these things. And repair, you see there's some lines around the repair spot. You can never be damaged here. It's just a reminder. So you always have the repair option, which this faction is limited to a 2. Okay, so you have only 1 chance to use this by putting a 2 here. But if you can always spend 1 coin to add or change the value of 1 in your die, right? And so you can spend all the amount of money that you want to go from 1 to 6. The 6 doesn't go around to 1. So if you have a 3 and you really need to repair, you could just spend 1 money and it turns into a 2 and you use that. That's it. So you're not that limited. Then, specifically this faction, you have the order action there that says move up to 4 different patrols, 1 space. So if using this action, you can move 4 of these at the same time and just go wherever you need to go to ensure the dominance of the space. Then, very important, these guys are very battling faction because you have 2 spots for the cannons. Okay, so the cannon, but you can only use 5s or 6, right? 5s or 6. Again, you can reroll, or you can add with money, but it's limited to 5s or 6. So cannons work this way. Imagine that for some reason the 2 factions meet here. Okay, if any of the factions has a die here, if no faction has a die here, that means that no faction has loaded cannons. So there won't be any battles happening immediately. But if at least one of the factions has, and it doesn't matter if it's the yellow or the black one, the battle will occur. So in that sense, there will be an attacker and a defender. And the attacker is the one that moves into there. And if there are more than one faction there for some reason, the attacker needs to define which faction is attacking first, and then he needs to attack the other one. The amount that you have here is the amount that you can decrease the number, and that you will add that amount into the battle. Because normally the battle uses, it's not normally, the battle uses these 2 white dice. Each player will roll, right? And then, wow, seems like there's going to be a very high battle. No, it's the same. So let's imagine this is the attacker, this is the defender. The attacker is using a 6 and the defender is using a 5. So if no one is using cannons, that means then the highest will win. If in case of a tie, the attacker wins. But if you have cannons loaded, what you'll do is you can decrease the number. Imagine I go to 3 and I will add 2 here. So then that will be an 8. And the defender can do the same. He could add more and eventually he could win by having more spots. Okay, and that's it. That's a battle. If you win, then you need to see what your faction says in terms of victory in a battle, because it differs from faction to faction. For example, these guys here, you can deal 1 damage and steal 1 gold. Or you can just deal 2 damage, which is a lot. Or if you are attacking specifically the Mollusk ship, you can deal 1 damage and remove 1 comrade from an island in the region where the battle is happening. Comrades are tokens that we'll see. Okay, so you see this faction has a specific ability that is targeting the yellow player. And then by the end of the turn, another ability that you have is, if on an island there are 2 patrols, you can replace these 2 patrols for a stronghold. Okay, and you put a stronghold there. So a stronghold defends the place and doesn't allow comrades there or smuggling. It needs to be attacked, destroyed, in order for those activities to exist. So why would you like to put a stronghold there? Because in the end of the round, when you want to see the dominance, if you have a patrol on the region, you have 1 of control. If you have a stronghold, it's +2. And if you have a flagship, your big ship there, it's +5. And you compare the control with the other players in the same zone. And if you have more, if there is a tie, no one wins. But if you have more, then you get the points from there. Okay, so in this situation, for example, the flagship, there are 2 flagships there, which have the same controlling power. I believe so. Let me just confirm. Here on the yellows. No, the yellow have a weaker ship. So only by having this way, the blue would be winning. But then if you want to reinforce your victory, you can put that stronghold. So that means that you'll have 2 + 2, you have 4 controlling points there, and you win whatever is here. Okay, so just to see the remaining abilities for this faction, there's the bombard option, which you need to use a 4. You remove all comrades from an island in your flagship region. So another thing that is specifically targeting the yellow player, which is removing his tokens. Then you have the deploy action that is not limited to any kind of spots, and you put a patrol in a flagship space or adjacent to it. Another way for you to continue putting out more ships to control the seas. And the repair. That's it. Okay, then to compare. You have the Mollusk Union. The Mollusk Union has quite a number of tokens. The things here you see are the comrades, okay? And they also have two additional ships that I will show you, because this is a really funny faction to play. While I believe that I'm not an expert on strategy here for this game, but I believe that while the blue player tries to control specific spaces with strongholds and patrols, etc., these players try to spread themselves everywhere. They pop up like mushrooms, you see? So, and the abilities will reflect that. And as well, they have also another special thing, which is they come with a deck that no one else has access, and you'll have 2 cards per turn that you can use. And these cards are really game changers. I'll show them as well. So, in terms of actions, you can sail the same way, okay? And then when you stop, if you anchor in an island, you can put 2 comrades, 2 of these guys here, or you can ready comrades. Ready comrades means that you'll have a supply of comrades, but in the game you start only with 6. These are the guys that are traveling with you, and you need to, when you place them, if you want to continue putting comrades, you need to make them ready. So you need to go to the supply, get them, and make them ready for more fights. Okay, so here you have the choice to sail when sailing is to place them on islands or bring more to be ready. It's like recruiting. Do the recruitment and have more soldiers. Tailwind to travel and teleport. Assemble with 1. Place up to 4 comrades on the island in your flagship region. So this is very strong. You go to a region, okay, and you put a 1 there, and all of a sudden, if you have these guys ready in your board, you just take 4 of them and bah, invasion. Okay, so this example, that's not the best, but imagine that it is like this. Bah, 4 of them. I control the region now. But be careful, because the blue player could bombard you with the bombard action that we see. Could bombard you and clean all the comrades from that island. So assemble needs to be used very clever, in a very clever way. Then cannons. Works the same way as before, but you're not limited to 20 spots, and you only have 1 spot for cannons. So if you get damage on the cannons, you cannot fight again because you need to repair first. Then you have Inspire. You place 1 comrade up to 4 different islands. This is the best action for this faction, because the map will become to spread during the game, and you don't need to be all over the place. You can just inspire, and you need to have at least 4 comrades ready, and you place those comrades spread across the ocean in islands. Okay, so out of nothing, you may be controlling 4 islands that were not controlled before, just because you place a comrade there. So that's the best way for you to spread and try to avoid the fights. Move away from where the action is happening and just explore and control the regions with the Inspire action. Limited to 6, I know, but when you are able to do that, do it, because it's very good to expand. And then, if you are on an island, you can use Rally, which is you gain 4 comrades. So this is like a mechanical faction. You need to, first of all, recruit the comrades, then deploy the comrades, and then recruit more, deploy more, because when they die, they go to the supply, they don't go back as ready. You need to have the engine working for get them ready, get them deployed, get them ready, get them deployed. That's how it works, okay? And then the cards themselves. You have cards that surprise in battle, weapons cache, the secret weapon. You have 2 of them, these are really funny, 2 of them that you place on your board. And you can use these cards as action. You can use as many as you want on your turn. They are like actions that you can do beyond placing the dice. So this one, for example, it gives you the cutter. The cutter is an additional ship that you place it by removing 2 comrades on an island, placing the cutter there. And then you have another space where you can put a die to sail or tailwind, ignoring wreckage. What's the advantage of this? Is each comrade on the island where the cutter is now gives 2 control each comrade. Okay, you cannot fight. Okay, and he's very fast, because on a normal sail you can only move to 1 to 2, but on a sail you can move up to 3 spaces. So he travels very fast in the sea. If you get a damage here, you're out. Cutter is done for the rest of the game. Then you have the gunship, which is a strong, a strong battling ship for this faction, and it can move, tailwind, ignores wreckage, and the ability good for battling is that he always has loaded cannons. So you don't need to have a die on the cannons. If someone is fighting here, they will know that they will have cannons, and it will add +3 automatically to your white battle die. Okay, so yeah, this faction could become versatile because you can go for speed or you can go for battling depending on these cards. And then you also have evacuation. For example, you remove comrades from one island where you have lots of them and place them on other islands, distributing them. So this may change the way you're controlling the board. You can destroy patrol. See another card that is specifically targeting the blue player. Dynamic entry is you just go from beyond and go faster to a certain place. Okay. And this one is regarding the cards that I haven't explained. Okay, because I'm just focusing first on the factions. Now, the other two factions are the ones that are considered the not main ones, but I don't like to be unfair. I haven't played with any of these, and they play the same. But you really, just by understanding this basic about the game, which is there are factions with proper names and then there are the smugglers, it feels second class. It feels like I'm not the main actor here in the game. But anyway, even so, it's even worse because they play the same way. So it's like the rest of the game is like these guys. They work the same way. They didn't even put enough effort to just, you can have a smuggler, but you could have another faction beyond the smuggler, and that will be 4 different factions, and the feeling would not be that great. But anyway, there are the smuggler grays and the reds. For the sake of the video, I'll just show you one. The red ones, they have only 3 sailing dice. They could do full sail, which is not tailwind. So full sail, you move your flagship a number of spaces from 1 up to the die value. So you can have like nitro. They move very fast. Tailwind as well. They move very fast because they need to be all over the place. The smugglers are the guys that need to go to a certain island, get the card as cargo, and then smuggle it to another island that could be very far away. Okay, that's why they are the smugglers. They also have cannons if they need to battle, and they have the negotiate action. They need an even number. They need a 2, a 4, or a 6. And here, while your flagship is at an island, you can recruit crew, ignoring the cost and the suit. You may recruit 1 more crew if you remove 1 comrade from the island. The comrades, again, are these guys. So these guys, even the smuggler, they could go against these guys. And I don't see anything against the Bluefin Squadron, only against the yellows. Okay. So crew is getting new crew members, and those are the cards that I will show you. Normally you need to pay a cost, but if you negotiate, you can have the crew for free. And then the repair. So, another action that you don't see here is smuggle and deliver. You don't need dice for that. If you are on an island, you may recruit, which is also something that you don't need a die unless you want to use negotiate. Recruit is to buy a card from the market, or you can smuggle cargo and deliver cargo. I'll show you those cards. And then when you win a battle, you deal 1 damage, or you can move to spaces, or you deal 1 damage and get a reward. So the rewards are where this faction shines, because you start here in the middle. There's a cube. It works like this. So let me show you. There's also the red ship. There's also the dice from the smugglers, which are the same 4, but in red. I also need to show you the pledged. And these two cubes. Just getting a card here to explain something to you guys. So if you win a battle, it's forcing you to battle, because when you win, you will have your white and blue cube there, and then you can choose where to move the white cube, and then the black cube goes after, in order to avoid you to come back to the same reward again. So it's blocking you, for example, to go back to money, and then this, and then money, and then this, because if you go here, first of all, you cannot go there because the cube is there. So you need to go here, and this goes there. So you cannot go back. You need to go somewhere else. That's how. And the kind of things that you can win here is you can get money, get points, get free actions. You can repair damage. You here in this corner, for example, you get 4 points, and you increase the value of a region. Lots of points around, lots of money. You can get cards. So you choose the reward that fits you the most. So when talking about the cards, so we'll see the cards, all of them, but this is going to be the cards that you see on the market. And the cards have a suit and a cost. So if I want this guy on my crew, and he allows me to repair all my damage, not just 2, so this guy, the shipwright, is a good card. I need to go to an island that has the swords, which we don't have any on here, but here on the side we can see it could be hired there. And I pay these costs in money. Okay, the cost could be also placing a die. This one costs money. Then the guy is on my board, and I can use that as an action. But if I'm a smuggler, I could go to this island, and according to what it says here, you can smuggle him from the market. Okay, and then he goes here where it says cargo, up to 2 cards. You put him here. Now he becomes, instead of crew member, he becomes the nails that you need to deliver to a green island, like that one, for example. So you would need to travel there, and once you're there, you deliver the cargo. Okay, when you deliver, then you get the reward here. It's better if I show you on the manual. So when you deliver, you gain 2 fame, you increase the wealth of the region by 1, then you choose the reward that you want to get from the board. From here, you choose, which could be more points, more money, whatever. And then you pledge the cargo. Okay, so pledge the cargo is important, because remember when I said that the player that triggers the 30 points is not necessarily the player that wins? That's because both smugglers, they have these 2 coins, which means that you may pledge cargo to the Mollusk faction or to the Bluefins faction. Okay, so imagine that I deliver this, and I deliver that on that island. So I know that the region there is controlled now by the Bluefin, because that's the only ship there. So by pledging, I secretly turn this down, and I see here, okay, so this is the shark, this is the mollusk. So I think that in the end of the game, the Bluefins will be controlling that. Okay, so I pledge here, and I cannot change anymore. So then the game continues, and in the end of the game, we reveal the pledges, and we see how many sword islands, in fact, the Bluefin controls. If I pledge this to the Bluefin, if the Bluefin player controls at least 1, I get 1 point. If he controls the 2 sword islands that exist in the game, because there are 2 of each, then I get 2 for this card. And we do this math for all the cards that I've pledged, and I compare if I pledged this faction or that faction. So the smuggler needs to not only make sure that he delivers the cargo, but then when the game is happening, he needs to remind himself that, oh, I've pledged some cargo in that island or to that specific player, so probably I can help and influence what's happening to make sure that that player continues carrying on the control of that island for me to gain points in the end of the game with the pledges. So you never know what will happen in the end of the game, and it's very difficult for you to control the board in a way that you know exactly that player will keep the control until the end of the game. It's tough. It's tough for what I've seen. It's tough. Okay. So the last thing that I want to show you, we've seen everything. So about the cards, you have this quick start player guide for all the factions. You have, yeah, this is for the Bluefin, and then you have these cards that are the crew members, and they are very fun to take a look at. So let's see what they are. Okay, remember that we see the crew member here, and then if we want to use that as cargo, it's below. Okay, so this guy is the compass aligned, and he has 2 coins as cost, but then you can, he's a sailor, so you can move 1 to 3 spaces. Convincing official, you move up to 2 patrols, each 1 or 2 spaces, and they ignore the battle. So this one is very strong if you have the bluefin, but also you can, all other players can get this card and move the patrols the way they see fit. Okay, so it's not necessarily just for the blue player. I don't know how this will work with other factions. The game needs to change a little bit. And if you're playing with 2 players, one of them needs to be mandatorily the blue and the other one the yellow. And then with 3 players, you add 1 smuggler, and 4 players, you add another smuggler. So this card is always part of the game. And the same thing here with the comrades. So you can take up to 2 comrades from any one island and place them on another island. So you can control the yellow player. The naive nobleman. Return naive nobleman to the box. Steal 1 crew or cargo from a flagship into your flagship region. In your flagship region, you may take it as crew or cargo. The naive nobleman, to steal cards from other players. The documentarian. At the end of your turn, gain 1 gold if your flagship is in the same region as an enemy flagship. So yeah, it's forcing the combat for you to get money. Merchant. When your flagship anchors at an harbor, you gain 1 gold. The merchant. If you go heal, you get gold for that. So this one costs a die, regardless of the spots. You just need to use a die there. You cannot use the die in other actions, so that's really a cost. But then you don't need to pay money. And he's the elder shark. See how scratchy the guy is. At the end of your turn, you gain 1 gold if you have no damage die slots. Okay, so if you're fresh, you get 1 gold. And it's the end of your turn, so it will happen 2 times in the round. Battering Beakhead. When you damage an enemy figure, which could be also patrols, you may move it 1 space. No, patrols cannot be because they die, only with 1 damage. It cannot move off the map. It ignores battle, harbors, and treasures. So you don't trigger other battles, you don't repair on harbors, and you don't get treasures. So it's, you damage and they move away, but they cannot move off the map. The powder monkey. When you repair any amount of damage, you may deal 1 damage to any figure in your region. So you repair and the other ones get the damage. Gunner's mate. When you place a die on cannons, your flagship may battle against any space in its region as if it moved there. Okay. Oh, I'm just loading my cannons, and by the way, I'm battling you with my new 6. Oh! Emissary. On your turn, if you battle an enemy, you may give them 1 gold to ignore a battle. Okay. So you can bribe the opponent not to have the battle. When your flagship moves into a strong current, you may ignore its effect or move into a different direction. Remember the strong currents, these things here, so you can... The Sea Dog is an expert in maneuvering that. The Sea Witch. When your flagship moves off the map, you may move it directly to the space on the nearest opposite edge for free. Okay, so you can go there, and instead of discovering a new one, you can go to that side. You can circle around the planet, unless you believe on flat Earth. Convincing comrades. Take up to 2 comrades from 1 island and place them on another island. Oh, it's very similar to what we saw before. Oh, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. The artwork changes, but... yeah. Oh, maybe there's another one for the sharks. Let's see if we can find them. So really to make sure that you influence the other player. Mystic. Once per turn, take 1 damage to your board to deal 1 damage to any figure in your flagship. So you self-inflict damage to get rid of maybe the smaller one. Middleman. When you spend gold to change a die value, you may change it by 2. That's strong. That's strong. You can get faster to those 6 that you need. When you win a battle with your flagship, you deal 1 extra damage. Whew, also very strong. So if you're playing with the blue player, you can inflict 3 damage. That's very bad. Move your flagship 1 or 2 spaces. You may gain a treasure gold even if you don't anchor in it. So if you pass through a place that has gold, like here, for example, you pass through, you get that gold without having to stop there. The barrelman. When your flagship moves into fog, you may treat it as a strong current going in a direction like that. Not that important. No, this one's not important. The buccaneer. When you win a battle, you may return buccaneer to the box to return 2 crew of theirs that you choose to the box. So you sacrifice your buccaneer and you get rid of 2 crew members from the opponent. When you win a battle, not just with your flagship, you gain 2 golds. How would you win a battle without your flagship? Could be with the stronghold, could be with the patrols. Yes, you get 2 gold. So the cat purse is still the gold. The diver. When your flagship anchors at wreckage, gain an extra gold from its treasures. Also not that very important. The whispering wind. Once per turn, spend 2 gold to move your flagship directly to any space with tailwind terrain. Okay, so you spend 2 gold to teleport almost anywhere. The aeronauts. While your flagship is in an island, you may spend 1 gold to move it directly to the other island of that suit. So remember, the islands, they have suits. 2 of them, there are 2 of each suit. So if the 2 of them are in the board, you can teleport between suits. Could be interesting. And it's just 1 gold, okay? The Grog Master. In battle with your flagship, you may take 1 damage to reroll your battle die 1 time. If using a secret weapon, reroll both dice. So the secret weapon is a card. From the yellow player, which you roll 2 dice instead of 1. You used it in a battle. So here you take 1 damage. You reroll both the dice, okay? Oh, there it is. So I was looking for this. The other convincing official to manage the shark. The shipwright, we've seen that, to repair your damage. And then the fighters. In any battle, not just with your flagship, add +1 to your roll. To your battle roll. So again, with strongholds and smaller ships, etc., you get +1. And that's it. That's it. We went through... Oh, no, wait. There's something here on the box. That's not it. There are 2 cards here lost. Here, the pilot. When your flagship moves into wreckage, you ignore the damage. Because when you go to these places, when you pass through, you take damage. And the ghastly gust. Return ghastly gust to the box. Move your flagship directly to any space. This is the biggest teleport in the game. And now, yes. Clean, as you can see. And that was indeed Ahoy. Getting the box here. Ahoy. I hope you liked this video to the point that you consider hitting that like button and subscribing. I have a full playlist dedicated to a lot of board games, as well as for all the major card games out there. And recently I'm also releasing a new kind of content, which I'm calling the Table Talks, where I'm interviewing people, getting to know their profiles, their projects, what's happening in their lives while playing board games online. So I definitely think that you'll find interesting content in the channel to consider subscribing and be part of this community. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you on next video. Goodbye.